I was never really a runner. The way I see running is a gift, especially when you have stage 4 cancer. I'm Anne. I'm running the Boston Marathon, presented by Bank of America. I run for Dana-Farber Cancer Institute to give people like me a chance to thrive in life, even with cancer.
Join Bank of America in helping Anne's cause. Give if you can at BofA.com/supportAnne. What would you like the power to do? References to charitable organizations is not an endorsement by Bank of America Corporation. Copyright 2025.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. From your morning podcast to your afternoon playlist, State Farm knows you personalize your entire day. And that's why State Farm helps you personalize your insurance with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. It offers coverage options that help protect what you care about most at an affordable price just for you. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability and eligibility may vary.
You would get fined for putting that on the street.
No, you don't, Your Honor.
So you do. I tell you what, why don't you take them off of his property and put them in front of your street, in front of your house?
This is the plaintiff, Jared Judson. He says he purchased a house from the defendant who left rubbish behind. The guy promised he'd have it removed, but lied. And here they are. He had to go out and hire someone to get rid of the leftover trash. He had to pay $500 to get the job done, and is suing the dishonest defendant for just that today. This is the defendant, Samuel Grossman. He says the plaintiff could have had the sanitation department take the stuff away from the investment property he sold him for free, but he decided to go out and hire someone to do the work. That wasn't their agreement when the closing took place. He's not wasting $500 on something that should have been done for free and isn't paying this guy a cent. He's accused of being a double-crosser.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Milian in our forum, the People's Court.
Be seated, come to order, please.
That's alarming. Who put that there?
Litigants have been sworn in.
Jared Judson, you are suing Samuel Grossman and Alder LLC. You are the owner and you were a principal in the business and you were representing?
Yes.
Okay. For $500 for removal of rubbish that was his responsibility that he didn't remove. Okay, talk to me. You bought a house from him.
Bought a house from him. The day before the closing, we did a walkthrough. And he wasn't there. I did a walkthrough with the listing agent, and there was all this garbage construction material, metal pipes, bricks, pavers, garbage, just regular garbage, trash from people eating lunch. I mean, the garbage bags, there's a ton of garbage there. So
so you go to the closing.
So I mentioned to the agent.
You do not go to the closing. You have your attorney there.
I was not at the closing, Your Honor.
Okay.
My attorney represented
All right.
me.
So you complained to the attorney, look, there's all this garbage and I want it gone.
Well, first I mentioned it to the listing agent who was with me at the final walkthrough, and she said, we'll take care of it at closing. So
at closing, you bring it up and what happened?
Yeah, bring it up to the attorney. His attorney, and he didn't know anything about it. So he left the room. I don't know if he made a phone call to him.
Did your attorney call you from the closing and tell you that he wants it to be made part of the paperwork?
No, Your Honor, I was out of the States.
Okay. Well, your attorney was your representative there,
Indeed.
And according to the paperwork in the closing, he agreed on your behalf to have you be responsible to remove the garbage.
Indeed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then what happens? You close.
So at closing, he handwrites just a rider to the closing documents saying that it'll get taken care of.
Okay.
And so I waited. I called the law office a few days after I moved in, or the next week, and he said that the defendant was out of the country still. I have to wait till he gets back. So I waited to the date that he got back. I don't remember what day that was specifically. And I called again. I called his attorney's office many times, and finally said, well, he's going to stop by sometime and take a look to see what you're talking about. Then one day he rang my Ring doorbell, and I was out of town, and so I get it on my phone that he's there, and he asked me to call him, So I call his cell phone, and he tells me, like, look, I'm not taking care of this stuff. You must have persuaded my attorney somehow to write this contract up, but I never agreed to it, and I'm not taking care of it. He said, if you want, I'll take the white fence that was in the garage. I know about that. I'll take it to the curb for you. And I know that the sanitation doesn't take building materials, so I would get fined if that was out there. So I told him, no, don't do anything. And he said, well, if you don't like it, sue me. So that's what I did.
Okay, why don't you tell me about that visit to his house?
In fact, Your Honor, I have visited his location a few times. There was no answer. And apparently he forgets. In the agreement that was signed by my lawyer, which I have a copy here, it says it needed the final water bill. It needed to re-establish a door that was closed by me in order to obtain a CO, as well as some other garbage. The word garbage was never, so to speak, defined. The bricks that he's mentioning were made there as a nice way to have a seat there or whatever.
Have a what?
Like a seat, you know,
seat.
it was made. So it was never considered by us to be garbage. I came in to the location a few times, rang the bell, and
unannounced.
Unannounced.
Yeah, well, okay.
Unannounced, okay? I'm not blaming anything. I just wanted to know what it's all about. I have not seen any garbage on the street at all.
On the street?
On the street, I mean in the back.
Property. All
on
right.
the property.
So
I have
you
not
have
seen
pictures
it.
of what we're talking about, right?
Yes.
All right. What is this here? I guess at some point this used to be a fire pit.
Yeah, I guess that used to be a fire pit. I wasn't so concerned with that so much.
What is this?
That was just a pile of, I don't know if that's the seat he's talking about, but that's just a pile of some kind of
Is that what you call a seat?
These are bricks that were on the side of the fence there, which matched other part of the bricks. We left them there because we felt that if he has any broken or anything like that, he would be able to use them.
Do these bricks match pavers that you have somewhere in the house?
No, they don't.
They don't at all?
No. I don't know what they're there for.
Okay, now we're looking at garbage, because frankly, I'm unimpressed with the other stuff.
Yeah, this is the main part. Yeah.
All right, so is this the fence you were talking about?
Yeah, that's the fence I had to remove from, anything you see there that's white, white vinyl, that's what I had to remove from the garage.
And where's the garbage you talked about?
Well, you see that bag on the left?
Yep.
You can see little pieces of garbage. If you keep scrolling through the pictures, you'll see more garbage. You see a piece of wood along the fence. You'll see some metal pipes. You'll see some trash. You'll see...
Can I see the contract that got amended?
Yes.
The actual closing notes? Let me see from both parties. Please. What is this a picture of?
Just showing you that it was taken care of.
All right. So when he tells you that... What's my dog doing in your... Boy, it looks just like my dog. When he tells you, I'll bring this stuff to the curb, why are you telling him you'll bring this stuff to the curb? My understanding is you can't get rid of building materials like that.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. If I buy a house from you, do you have a duty to make it broom clean before I move in?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah,
Even if it's not in the contract?
I believe so.
What do you say?
I'd say it's the polite and generally widely regarded thing to do.
And I will buy that. Now the question, is it legally required?
I think if it's not in the contract, it's not required.
So you can leave it a mess?
Sure, why not?
Okay, going inside the courtroom.
First of all, this is not building material. This is an old steps that were there.
Okay, you would get fined for putting that on the street.
No, you don't, Your Honor.
So you do. I tell you what, why don't you take them off of his property and put them in front of your street, in front of your house? Since you can't get fined for it, that would have been a simple way to handle it.
Again, what I told him at the time, if you were to call the sanitation department...
Yeah, see, you don't understand. He doesn't want to have to do that. That's what you should do. When you own the house, you should call the sanitation department. You should go through that trouble. You should get fined or not. You should do that. See, that was what he worked into the rider, is that he doesn't have to go through 20 phone calls to your law firm, chasing you to do what the rider was. Where's the rider?
The rider was no...
This part?
The rider had no time limit in it.
Let's see what it says. In consultation, in consideration of closing, seller agrees to obtain and pay the final water meter, clear all rubbish from rear yard?
I think that's what it says. Yeah.
Okay. And to install door to basement as was existing at time of the original listing with the broker. I presume the water meter bill and the door have been fixed, right?
The water meter, the door was never fixed, but I gave up on that.
Okay, so you do not remove the rubbish in the rear.
I did not remove the rubbish in the rear.
And you, according to you, you called a company and had them take it, and they charged you $500?
Yeah.
That sounds like a lot. Do you have proof that you paid that?
I have an invoice saying that I paid it, and there's zero balance.
Yeah, how'd you pay it?
Cash.
Let me see. Who are these people?
Just somebody that I was referred to.
By whom?
A friend.
Vinyl, metal, masonry, miscellaneous garbage, $500. Wow, it would have been so much easier for you to just take that stuff out.
It's part of the conversation that took place, Your Honor, was also the fact that my lawyer made a mistake by not doing over there. We reduced the taxes, which usually would have been done half and half at the time. The original taxes were $17,650, and they were reduced to $13,138, which caused a savings, which he was not aware at the time, because that was issued on January 11.
When was your
of a
closing?
saving on December 28, I believe. You have it there, signed on December 28.
So what you're saying is that you and your lawyer appealed the appraised value, and you got a tax break, and he benefited from it.
$4,500, and if he would have to do that, he would have to pay out of his pocket $2,200.
Yeah, but
which I told him
so
that,
what?
and I said, this is a wash. I didn't hear.
I know, but you don't get
Allow
to
me
say
to
that.
finish, please.
No, you let me finish. Let me
Okay.
interrupt you because
Please.
you're wrong on the law.
Okay.
You see, I understand what you're saying. You feel like he's being a jerk because efforts that you made with your lawyer to bring the tax base down worked, and therefore there was a savings for him. But so what? His obligation is to pay what the taxes are. You don't get to then say, hey, you know that house I sold you a year ago? I paid another attorney to lower this is something
By
that's
the
done
law, he would have had to pay half of it.
If you yell at me one more
No,
time,
I'm not.
I don't know what I'm going to do, but it's not going to look good. All right? You need to listen to me. Your lawyer made on your behalf an agreement to pick up the rubbish. You went there and you said, I'm not picking up the rubbish. I'll throw it all in front of your swale so that you could end up getting fined for throwing this junk on your swale. No, take it to your house, put it in front of your house so you can get fined. That's not the agreement you had with him. Your lawyer made an agreement on your behalf. All you have to do is pay somebody $50 or $100 to get it done, and instead, we are now in the position where he paid $500, which I think was a lot, and now he wants you to pay it. Guess what? $500, verdict for the plaintiff.
Well, Mr. Grossman, a deal is a deal. You made it through your lawyer, and you got to pay the $500 back to him.
I guess so.
You okay with that now? I mean, you're not happy, I know.
Well, I was under the assumption with the conversation that I had with him that was more than a wash.
Well,
apparently, he did
wasn't.
not agree. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but it's okay.
Okay, good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, Mr. Judson, was it worth coming to court
Yeah, it was worth it.
for $500?
It was worth it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was almost like just wanting to win the battle. The money, I wanted to get reimbursed, but it was more his stubbornness was what, made me bring him to court. So.
Well, good for you. All right, congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, good enough. Thank you very much. Harvey, what do you think?
Okay, I will say this. Even if there's nothing in the contract that talks about how you have to leave the house when you sell it to somebody, if you leave garbage behind, I think that the buyer can make a case that he can hire somebody to remove the garbage and you can charge the seller for that amount. I think you can make a case for that. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
This is a message from sponsor Intuit TurboTax. Taxes was getting frustrated by your forms. Now, Taxes is uploading your forms with a snap, and a TurboTax expert will do your taxes for you. One who's backed by the latest tech, which cross-checks millions of data points for absolute accuracy, all of which makes it easy for you to get the most money back, guaranteed. Get an expert now at TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live Full Service. See guaranteed details at TurboTax.com/guarantees.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed Sponsored Jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
The plaintiff, Darcy Leonard. She says the defendant violated her rights of entry when she showed up to inspect her apartment without proper notice while she was indecently dressed. She had to hold her breasts with her hands because she was wearing her flimsy pajamas. She wasn't given the required 24-hour notice, and she's suing the defendant for the $2,000 she now feels she's owed. This is the defendant, Catherine Duvon. She says she was notified by Building and Safety they wanted to do an impromptu inspection on a property she owns, and the inspector was standing in front of the plaintiff's apartment on a public walkway. The plaintiff became very upset, but that space doesn't belong to the plaintiff. She doesn't understand how this could possibly constitute a $2,000 lawsuit, but hey, this is America. She's accused of trespassing.
All parties, please use your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket. The plaintiff says the defendant violated her rights as a tenant by entering the property without her permission. But the defendant says the city wanted in and the plaintiff had no right to say no. It's the case of enter at your own peril.
Thank you, Douglas.
Welcome,
Darcy Leonard?
Yes.
You are suing Frolic House, LLC, Sky Chamberlain, represented here by Catherine Duvon. You are a Ma'am, hi.
Hi.
I'm talking. I don't know why you're staring her down. You are a co-owner?
Yes.
Okay. Who owns it with you?
My adult son, Sky Chamberlain.
Got it. For $2,000 for abuse of right of reentry. Okay. Talk to me.
Hello. Yes. Thank you, Your Honor. I am here because on December 6th, the landlord abused the right of reentry without written notice and non-emergency reasons. When I woke up to a text at 11:47 that had been written at 8 a.m. that said that they needed access to the property between 11:30 and 1:30 from Sky Chamberlain. I asked if it was an emergency, and I was given no answer. I negotiated giving courtesy of access at 12:30, as I saw.
What did they need to do? Go into the apartment?
They said that they need.
This is an apartment building, right?
It was an apartment building, but it has since been changed to a one-family house, which is grounds for eviction. So this is part of a pattern of getting us evicted.
Wait, what's going on? What is this place? Is it an apartment building or is it a house? What is it?
Well, that's what Building and Safety wanted to determine. They had a permitting question, so they wanted to come out and make the determination if it was a single-family residence. That's all the history of the permits show.
So that's why there was an inspector there?
Building and Safety wanted to come see the property.
So when you say abuse the right of reentry, California has a law that says that landlords can't abuse the right to reenter the property. What is it you're saying that landlord, Sky, did to abuse the right? Besides text you at 8, you woke up at noon, and then you said to him, no. What was your text to him?
Well, we negotiated that they would come in at 12:30. I was in my pajamas, and I was requesting 40 additional minutes before them to come in so that I wouldn't have to be seen in my thin white.
How long does it take you to change?
Well, I just didn't want. I woke up and immediately, like, this is about the fourth time.
Why were you waking up at noon?
I work nights.
Okay.
Yeah, I work nights, so I sleep in.
What do you do?
I'm a tarot and palm reader. So I work at bars and nightlife events.
Yeah.
So the agreed till 12:30. We're going back. We both agreed 12:30. That's when it's going to be. At 11:50, I got a text, like as I heard the gate on my porch open, and the inspector and all three of them came on the porch inside of the gate of my apartment. They
okay, I need pictures so I can understand when you say they're on your porch and you hear the gate open, because this is the only picture I have.
So the black gate there is my gate, And the second blue door with the red arrow there, that's my door.
Okay, so you heard this gate open.
I heard the gate open. As they were coming in, I got a text from Sky saying, we're going to just bring the no asking, we're just going to bring the inspector onto the porch. So we're just going to start the inspection on the porch, even though you already said we're going to do it at 12:30. We're going to do it now.
Why don't you stay inside and not come out? What's the big deal? That's what I'm trying to figure out. What is the big deal if people are on that porch? Like, why don't you say in your complaint, I was in a thin T-shirt and I felt vulnerable. Well, just don't come out. You're the one who came out in your thin T-shirt. Why didn't you just let them start on? I guess I'm trying to figure out how this amounts to a $2,000 bonanza, because I don't think that's what we're really here about. What we're really here about is you like living there. You've lived there how long?
I've lived there for over a year. I don't like living there anymore because
you're out, right? You know you're not going to get to stay there.
The treatment that I have no peace of habitability. I have no.
When's your lease over?
They never gave me a new lease.
Oh, so you don't even have a lease. So why don't you give her a notice of eviction since it's so unpleasant?
I just want to stay on point with this. It wasn't our intention.
You're being sued and dragged into court because she doesn't like that your son walked on the porch.
Actually, he didn't walk on the porch.
The inspector did.
Yeah, and
but he opened the gate for the inspector to do that.
No, the gate pushed the gate open. We were behind him.
Oh, so there's no lock on the gate?
Nope.
Okay. So let me I guess I'm just asking you, what's your game plan here? Because she wants you to pay her $2,000 over that transgression. What is you and your son's plan on what you're going to do with the tenants and stuff?
So this was my last big kick at the parenting can, helping my son buy a building in Hollywood where he eventually was going to live and have tenants. And it's turned into a very sticky wicket.
But it doesn't have to be. I mean, this is a sticky wicket right here.
Well, we're trying
But there's something called a notice of eviction. You see, here's the thing. There's a law in California that says that when a landlord may not abuse the right of access and use it to harass a tenant. That's a pretty big standard, all right? And if the landlord commits a significant and intentional violation, all right, there is a civil penalty not to exceed $2,000. This is what she is suing you for, okay? That's what's happening. You think it's going to end here? It's going to be... What is it they're doing this day when there's no lock on that gate, right? Is she right about that?
She's lying about everybody was inside the gate. Sky,
is there a
and
lock
the inspector.
on the gate?
There's not a lock on the gate.
So what happens when they go on the porch?
When they came on the porch, I had panicked. I felt intruded upon. I went to the front door, I opened the door, and I said, please go.
Okay, so you opened the door in your flimsy pajamas and had them see you?
Yes.
By your own volition, because they didn't go into your apartment. You could have avoided being seen in flimsy pajamas if you'd stayed inside.
Right, but I felt that when they came in the gate, they were coming into my apartment.
Well, nobody came into your apartment, right?
No, because
no, you're the one who opened the door and went outside to yell at them. All right, so you tell me your version of what happened when the inspector wanted to look at the porch. According to you, what?
Well, so we were told that Building and Safety wanted to show up between 11:30 and 1:30, and we got to the building at 11:30, and Darcy responded to my son's 8 a.m. text at 10 to noon, saying 12:30, which sounded like a plan with us. We really didn't know what the inspector wanted. But with these inspectors, he showed up at noon, and I said 12:30, and he's like, I'm not waiting till 12:30.
Yeah.
So at that point, my son, and I have the text here, wrote,
oh, look at that. She blew up the text. Come here, honey. This is what we call, I'm sorry. Stay where you are. Hand that to my bailiff. I'm sorry. Okay. That was my fault because I told you to come. But this is what we call judge-friendly font.
Okay.
Okay. It's so funny.
So my son, at that point, when it became clear the inspector wasn't going to wait around, said, we're just going to show him the porch. And then Darcy responded, thank you.
Okay.
So somewhere between that and walking into the porch, I guess Darcy had written no.
Yeah. Do you have it in your phone?
Yes.
Okay, because I can see the times if it's in the phone. Great, thank you.
Not so judge-friendly.
Not so judge-friendly. Okay. I am not ready to have visitors. I need to get dressed. This is the second time in 2 weeks I have woken to an immediate demand. I'm not sure I'd call that a demand. I have the right to say who comes in and when, unless it's an emergency. It alarms me that if I hadn't seen this, it might seem like you might have just come in while I was still sleeping. That is not acceptable. I can make myself ready to receive the inspector at 12:30 as a courtesy to you. You're welcome. Okay. He answers, there was never a plan to enter unannounced or without permission. And then he says, we're just going to show the inspector the porch now. She says, thank you. And then she says, no. Okay. So here's what we've got. We're just going to show him the porch. And then you're showing him the porch. And then the only reason anybody sees you in your nighties is you barge out because you're mad. What are you really mad at, though? Or did they walk into your apartment ever?
They've come into my apartment many times. Every time they've requested access, it has been with no advance notice.
Right, but hold on one second. Have they ever walked into your apartment without you knowing?
I believe that she did once.
How do you know?
I was in there.
Why do you say you believe then, if you were there?
Honestly, there's so many incidents that I just
No,
can't.
I'm asking about something very specific.
I know,
Did anybody ever barge into your apartment unannounced? So if the answer to that is no,
there's no barging
what we're talking about is
but
people trying to gain access by texting you.
Well, sometimes it was knocking on my door, though. Often it was either knocking on my door or getting a text that's like, we need access now, and I was afraid that if I didn't comply, that I would get evicted, which is what is happening.
I think suing them for $2,000 is going to get you evicted.
I already have an eviction because a housing department.
Because they say it's a single family.
They say it's a single family.
So you had to already evict all the tenants?
They haven't served us anything yet.
Well, then how do you have an eviction?
Because housing called and said that we're getting relocation money and that they need to work it out.
You're getting relocation money. How much money are you getting?
I'm not sure. I think it might be $10,000.
You're getting $10,000 to relocate? Only in California. Doesn't everybody just want to move to California right now? You're getting $10,000 to relocate of taxpayer money. On what theory? You don't even have a lease. You're on a month-to-month.
It's not taxpayer money.
Oh, what is it?
It's our money.
How come?
That's the
law.
law.
I actually feel better about that. All right, so do you have a lawyer?
No. We're new at owning a building.
You're new. Go consult a lawyer. That's when people consult a lawyer.
That's good advice.
Right before you shell out $10,000 to this one and how many tenants are there?
There's 2 tenancies.
That's $20,000. Go see a lawyer for $500 for an hour and find out. Just buy an hour of a lawyer's time and figure out what's going on.
Good advice. Hey, there's one other picture that I brought.
Yeah, let me see the picture.
This is just as far as the inspector got onto the porch.
Let me explain something. I don't care, and I'm going to tell you why I don't care.
So if the city wants in to inspect and you rent that apartment, do you have a duty to let them in?
Honestly, not. It's private property, and it's your right to let them not allow it in.
It is the city coming at you now saying, we need in. We need to check something to see if something's legal. What do you say?
I'd still say no. I would not let them in.
You wouldn't let them in?
Nope, not my
What do you say?
If it's a rental property, it's not technically yours, so maybe yes, the city can go in.
Okay, I'm getting some nods here going inside the courtroom.
Walking onto the porch, to me, is not what this statute was meant to cover. It was meant to cover the kind of landlords who are creepy and disrespectful and even though it's their property, they think that renters have no rights and that they go in and it was meant to cover something that isn't this. Putting your feet on a porch because somebody's sleeping at noon and, the inspector's there and you're telling, okay, we'll just look at the porch, don't worry. That, to me, is not a violation that entitles her to $2,000. So my verdict is against you and for the defendant. My business is done here now, but you guys really should speak to somebody, even if you just buy a few hours of their time, to get.
That's great advice.
You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
All right. But as far as this case is concerned, verdict for the defendant.
So the judge says walking on a porch is not a $2,000 violation and the plaintiff has lost her case. How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling like the judge didn't understand the full picture of what was going on. We were originally rented as rent stabilized, and there was numerous violations. This was just the most prominent one.
But it could be a lot worse, especially if you're getting $10,000 to get out. Right?
It could be worse,
Yes,
but
it
it could
could
be better.
Okay. Well, good luck to you. All right?
Yeah.
Sorry you lost your case.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You must sign a few documents on your way out of the courtroom. And now here comes the defendant. I don't know. You got some great advice from the judge. What do you think?
I think it was sound advice to consult with an attorney.
Thank you very much.
Thank
okay?
you.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Interesting case, Harvey.
You know, when you're really unsure of your legal rights like this, I will tell you this. A lot of cities, especially big cities, they have bar associations, associations that lawyers join. And a lot of them have what they call bar referral services, where they have referrals, and some of them have these low-cost consultations where you can meet with a lawyer for a low cost, sometimes even free, for 30 minutes. And in that period of time, you can really get some good advice on what your legal rights are, what to do and what not to do. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
It's time to rewrite the vacation rules. With Royal Caribbean, your family can look forward to just about anything. Break the thrill barrier, roaring down the tallest water slide in North America. Jump into breathtaking jungles and jaw-dropping coves. Vibe off the charts on our private island Perfect Day at Coco Cay. And end the day knowing things are just getting started. Because this isn't just any vacation. This is all the vacations. Come seek the Royal Caribbean. Ships Registry, Bahamas.
This is the plaintiff, Daniel. He says he did mechanical work on 2 vehicles the defendant owns. The guy authorized the work, paid for the work on his credit card, then turned around and abruptly disputed the charges and was given a credit by his bank. The man's been a customer for years. He has no idea what's gotten into him. But he's owed $2,421.47, and he's suing for just that today. This is the defendant, Gerald. He says the plaintiff did work on his truck without calling him for authorization. Charged his credit card, and that ain't cool. He just wanted him to look at the truck and to give him an estimate for repairs, but the plaintiff jumped the gun on him. Bottom line, the plaintiff had no right doing what he did, and he's not paying. He's accused of trying to get work done for free.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff did work on the defendant's vehicle, and the defendant had his credit card company stop payment. But the defendant says the plaintiff did unauthorized work. It's the case of the MasterCard of my own destiny.
Okay, Daniel, you're here on behalf of a car service center, correct?
Yes,
that
Your
your
Honor.
father owns.
Yes.
Okay. And you have been, Gerald, a customer at that place. How many times have you had cars fixed there?
Maybe 5 or 6 times.
5 or 6 times. Now, tell me about the bill in question, which he paid and then called his credit card company and said, I never authorized it.
Yep. So on November 19th, 2018, he brought in his work van, asked us to check out the tires and the brakes on it, as well as do an oil change. So we took a look at the vehicle. We determined that it did need brakes front and rear. It also needed some tires. So I have here on the main estimate, on 11/19, he authorized us to perform the brake work on the vehicle, front and rear. So we took care of the brakes and the oil change.
What about the tires?
Well, at 3:03 p.m. here, we called him back, said the brakes are done, the tires are done, not tires, the oil change is done. Everything came out good, but you really need some tires. At that point, he said, you know what, I have it there. It really needs the tires. Let's just take care of this work.
So according to you, he authorized twice in 2 different phone calls.
Because at first he said just take care of the brakes and the oil change and hold off on the tires. So once we finished all that work, we called him back and said, everything's done, it's great. Are you sure you don't want to do the tires? And at that point he said, you know what, go ahead and do it. It's already there. And I
Okay,
really
now
need
you've
them.
done how many jobs for him?
Many. I actually printed out his full vehicle history report. He's been a customer for almost 3 years. I think it comes out to about 16 or 17 total visits I have here.
And so this truck was what kind of truck?
It's a potato chip delivery truck.
Is that your business?
Yes.
Okay, so, and according to you, he wakes up early, delivers all the potato chips, filling everyone's potato chip morning need, and,
I would assume so,
then
correct,
sleeps through it. So he drops the car off at odd hours when you guys aren't open, or how does?
Well, usually midday.
Okay, so he drops the car off at midday, and then
or
what?
something like that, and then I'm assuming he goes home and get some rest.
And
'cause he
then you
works early
fix it, and
hours.
then he picks it up at odd hours, or?
After we close at 5 p.m.
Okay.
So usually what we have done many times, pretty much every single time before, is run the credit card on file, leave his keys and receipt inside the truck for him so that he can come back at his convenience and pick up the truck for work tomorrow.
Okay. All right. So according to you, you spoke to him not once but twice, and you were reading from something. What were you reading from?
This was the original invoice where I was giving you the times off of here.
Let me see that.
Sure. You can see right down the bottom.
Is there somewhere where you
it's sent.
handwrite stuff, or no, you're inputting it?
Basically all on the computer. You can see where it came in. It says check tires, check brakes, and then down bottom where it's highlighted in yellow, that's when the times of days we actually got the approval to do the different work. When we originally got the charge back from American Express, it said work, services or goods not received. So I printed out the original invoices. Then we got another charge back from American Express on the same thing that said duplicate billing, because he was in with, I believe, his wife or girlfriend's vehicle about 9 or 10 days earlier for almost the same amount dollar-wise of work.
So what's your defense to this? They're suing you because you called the credit card company and claimed you didn't authorize the work.
Yeah.
And?
Well, he's right. I did drop my girlfriend's car off. It was about 2 or 3 days earlier. I even said to him, I don't know if I actually spoke with him. I'm not really sure who I spoke with. But I called and I said, I'm going to pick her car up. I'll drop my other truck off, and you guys could just look at that at the time. And I said, give me a call when you got an estimate on this one. I'm not sure who called me. I'm not sure if it was him. I really don't know who I was speaking with on the phone. And they gave me a number, and I said, I'm not going to get it done right now. It's too much. I just put out $2,400. I'm going to wait on that because I have other trucks. So I said, I'm going to pick the truck up. I didn't know exactly what was, how bad it would be, but I'll get it fixed. I have another guy that does work on the side for me once in a while, and I figured I'll just let him look at it eventually. They called me back, told me the work was done. I told them.
So you're saying you did get a call from them?
Oh, they called me and gave me the number.
And they gave you the estimate?
Yes.
And you said?
I told them to hold off on it.
Okay. Who did you talk to and say, don't do the work?
If it was him, I'm not sure. Just a
Are
couple
you
guys
the
that-
one who called him, or did somebody else call him?
I believe that was my father.
Who called him?
Yeah.
And according to you, you said don't do the work to his father, and then his father authorized the work. Can you get your father on? Is your father here?
No, he's not here.
Is he available by telephone?
We can try him.
Why don't we try him?
Sure.
Try to get him on the phone, and then once you got him, put him on speaker.
So who wins this? The auto repair shop or the customer?
The repair shop.
Why?
The guy brought his car there, he left it there, and the work got done.
Work got done, but the guy says it's unauthorized.
He should have never gave up his credit card information in the first place when he dropped his car off.
But I don't understand. He gave up his credit card information, but he says the work was unauthorized.
If the work's unauthorized, then it needs to be on paper at least. And if he doesn't have that, they should have that.
So who wins?
Honestly, I think the defendant.
Okay, going inside the courtroom.
So, I said, look, I didn't authorize this. And they were like, well, we have pictures of, I guess they said they took pictures of what I needed done. You really needed this stuff done, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, right now wasn't the right time for it. I have other trucks. I could put this truck on hold. I would have got it done later
Normally
on.
you wouldn't get your car after that. If you won't pay, then they don't give you your car. That's what usually happens.
But they already ran my credit card, so they don't care.
What's your dad's name? Dad?
Yes, how are you?
How are you? This is Judge Milian.
All right.
Okay, so can I just ask you, Dan, did you have any conversations yourself with the defendant in this case about the authorization for the repair?
I talked to him at the end whenever we finished the repairs about if he really wanted to do the tires or not because they were pretty bad.
And what did he say?
He said put 4 tires on, 2 on the front and 2 on the back, and he'd let the other ones go because they were in really bad shape.
How many tires are on the truck?
6.
There's 6.
Okay. And so you had that conversation. Did you have the original conversation on the brake job and the oil change?
Yeah, in the morning.
So you talked to him twice that day?
Yes.
All right. And in the original conversation, what was the conversation? Did he tell you, no, don't do the repair?
No, he told me to go ahead with everything, just don't do the tires. Because he originally came in for the brakes and tires, and then when he found out how much the brakes were, because they were really shot, he says, just do the brakes for now. So then I called him back to tell him that the brakes were all done. Then I said to him, you sure you don't want to put, a few tires on this thing because they're pretty bad? And he goes, well, just put 4 on, don't put all 6 on. And I said, okay, and we took care of that.
What say you to what Senior's saying right now?
I spoke to somebody once. I don't know if he called me, and I spoke to somebody one time. And that was to say, and that was after they were like, you're ready, your car's ready to be picked up.
Did he ever call, who calls him to let him know his car's ready?
Me.
All right, so that's after putting the tires on?
Right.
Okay, so when you call...
He said, just leave it outside, and he'd call me back with the credit card later.
I thought you had the credit card on file.
No, we didn't know. We had a credit card on file from the girlfriend, and then whenever he called back with the credit card number, it was the same number we had for the girlfriend.
Okay, because your son was saying you already had it on file, but you're saying he gave it to you?
Right. I just wanted to make sure that was the credit card he was going to use, because the credit card we had was from the girlfriend. And
okay.
That was the same credit card number that he had given us.
All right, thank you, Senior.
You're welcome, thank you.
Bye-bye. I don't know how to use a Samsung. All right, so your plan is to do what? I realize that you had one credit card statement with thousands and thousands of dollars in charges, but what's your plan? Your plan is that you're going to get away with a free brake, free oil, 4 new tires, and that they're going to eat all that?
Well, when I called the credit card company, they asked me if I wanted to dispute the charge, and I said, yeah. They didn't offer me like, hey, do you want to play part of it? That wasn't part of the deal. It was, no, I didn't. They said, did you authorize this? I said no, and they did their investigation or whatever they, however
they don't do it. They basically,
no, whatever they do.
I'll tell you what they do, and I'm not bound by them anyway. What they do is they rule on the side of their customer when they can, because you're their customer.
Absolutely.
Depending on the card, not every card does that. All right, Gerald, I'm a little uncomfortable. I'm having a hard time thinking that they did this work without your authorization. I'm going to order you to pay them the money you owe them, which is $2,421.47.
Thank you.
So the plaintiff prevails. The defendant is going to have to pay the repair bill. I'm intrigued to know what you were thinking when the judge was talking to his father and heard what he said.
I was fine with it. I mean, I spoke,
You were fine with it?
But
he said he talked to you. You okayed everything. You gave him the credit card
He talked to me, but
his testimony killed your case.
Well,
killed your case.
But that's okay.
Okay?
All right.
You embarrassed?
No, not at all.
You don't feel bad?
No, not at all.
Good luck.
All right.
Amazing.
He's happy as a clam.
I am.
I don't understand it. You're the one who should be happy.
I'm very happy.
Yeah.
Yep. I think she ruled very fair, and I brought all the evidence with me, and I think justice prevailed.
Well, you did a good job.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was amazing, Harvey. What do you think?
Okay, I don't care how many times you go. I mean, this is such a good example. They went 16 times before. If you take your car in, you need to get something in writing. You can text, you can email. There are a million ways of doing it. Get it in writing.